What up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Modai J and we are locked in. This is the recap for 0 Day on Netflix, episode 2. And what we know is 0 Day has happened. We don't know who did it, and they started a 0 Day commission. And George, he stepped up, and it looks like he's about to assemble the best team. They called me. I told them I wasn't going to be able to make it because I got to do these recaps. But they assembled the best team to try to find out which hacking group had did this. Now there's hint that, saying that there's a little Reaper group going around. But before we jump into this and break down episode 2 and find out who the heck is doing all of this hacking, if you like mystery, thriller, a drama, then 0 Day might be something for you. Plus Robert Niro is in there. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button, and let's jump into it. This is episode 2 of 0 Day, Netflix. What we know about George is when he starts having these flashbacks and starts to think about what used to be, this is when he really getting in his bag. And to start off episode 2, after taking over the commission of the 0 Day, he goes back to the house and it looks empty, but then he starts tripping out and all the books and everything comes into light. And now he knows the direction he needs to go in. When 0 Day happened, everyone thought it was one of the big 3, and they eliminated the other 2, China and North Korea, and pointed directly at Russia. Now, we do know that the Russians have something involved here, and we see that Patrick O'Keefe is going to this warehouse to drop off what he has in his bag, because everybody, they play a role in this, and some people got a smaller role, some people got a larger role, but he has a little device that he's supposed to come and drop off. When he gets here, he notices that there's some bodies on the floor. This ain't right. This is supposed to be some IT, we just get on the computer type situation. Well, Alexei gets to shooting at him. It's the first day of the 0 Day commission, and well, we're meeting all the players. Roger is escorting them through. They meet Melissa. She comes back. She's going to be PR. And they're like, hey, Mr. President, we need to go get this thing started, get our briefings. He's like, let me talk to the people. Now, if you've ever been in a situation, particularly like the military, all of the top ranking officers, they come in and they try to give you this motivational speech. You were handpicked. You got to serve your country. And it, sometimes it's like, okay, good. If you got good leadership, you're like, all right, I'm believing it. I'm rocking with it. Well, you got the former president coming in there. It's not like it's Donald Trump, but you got the former president coming in there. Hey, you sitting up straight like, okay, yes, sir. Let's get it. Let's take care of this 0 Day. 0 Day has their first briefing. They got FBI in here, CIA, NSA, anyone you can think about, MOE. I was in there, but I was just taking notes, taking minutes. But you hear everybody saying, we don't really know what happened, but this could happen again. Next time it could be longer than 2 or 3 minutes. Don't anyone speak about this. This is all confidential. So right now you're going around the table, and if there's any speculation or you got any word about what may have took place, this is the place you want to speak up. If you have any experts in your field where you work at, this is where you want to speak up and try to put them in the situation to help everyone out. George's little black book is where he keeps all of his notes. We know that. We keep hearing the song, who killed Bambi? Who killed Bambi? And in his book, who killed Bambi? So even with all of his notes, he always ends back up on this page. And that's where we're trying to figure out, is it something mental? Is it some medication he's on? Because he's having these little flashbacks. The room is empty, then the room is full. Then he's hearing music, loud pitched noises in his ear. So it's like, with this whole 0 Day commission on his back, because he's in charge, that's a lot of pressure. And then this stress of trying to figure out who killed Bambi, it's going to be tough for George. Now, Roger comes in and he's the assistant. So George is sitting there and he's like, write this down, Roger. There was a girl that came to my house by the name of Anna. We seen her get hit by that train, flipped over, blown up. Well, when he was giving his speech yesterday, he's saying that he's seen Anna in the crowd. So what he's doing is telling Roger, go confirm with her parents that she was unalive. Basically, go, go check, go to the corner, do whatever you need to do, because he feels like he's seen her. Now, remember, we don't know if it's a medication, is this a mental disorder? So maybe he did see her or maybe he didn't. But now Roger needs to verify for us. Remember Patrick O'Keefe that went into the warehouse at the beginning of the episode? Well, facial recognition, it hit on him. but it said it's restricted. So this guy over here, this Colonel Newman, he's talking to Carl like, hey, we got a hit on this mystery man, but it pops up as restricted, so we don't really know who he is. Now, obviously, I know his name because I'm intel. But he's like, look, we need to find out who he is, get a drone on this location, and follow this gentleman because this could be a key suspect. Roger is supposed to be finding out if Anna is unalived or not, but he took a little detour and he meets up with this guy, Mr. Linden. Now, Linden, very rich, one of the most rich people we've ever seen in life. But this is where things get a little, how can I say, a little fishy, because he's talking to Roger and basically telling Roger, you need to do this, you need to do that, trying to throw off George. So it kind of makes us look at Linden like, wait a minute, do you have something to do with this? And Roger, are you playing both sides? Because Roger's like, look, I can't do that, but I can do this. Why do you want me to send this information to George? So it looks like Roger is compromised. And I'm glad we found this out in episode 2 because I was trusting Roger for a little bit, but now that's off the books. George gets home and his wife, she's giving it to him. Where you been? Why haven't you called? He's like, man, I was busy. I thought Roger called you. She said, Roger covers for you. Now, he's a very busy man, especially what just happened. It's 0 day. But he could at least gave her a call back. It's not like he's the president. He's that busy. But for her, remember, she's trying to run for Congress. She's trying to become a senator. She's basically saying, I might have to tell people that you might not be all the way there. Cuckoo, cuckoo. But they end up getting a phone call. So George is off the hook for now. But I'm sure he's very stressed out. Well, the phone call for George was actually the president. Let me get right. Madam President. Yes, ma'am. She's like, look, George, the chief of staffs, the media, everyone there on me. I need to make sure we come out with a win. Meaning we need to arrest whoever these criminals were, find out who did it, stop it from happening again. Now, this is only day 1, but that pressure is going to be on. And I can only assume that being the president is a hard job. I've never been president. I was almost elected president once in high school, but I don't know, I got beat out. But anyway, she's telling George, you need to get on the job. You going home at the end of the day? We need 24-hour on the clock. Roger finally shows up to the coroner's office. When he goes in there, he's trying to see if Anna's body's in there. When the coroner pulls the slab out, we're looking like, where's the body at? That was the first thing I was looking for. Is there a body? He's like, well, we don't know where it is. So Roger's looking at him like, what do you mean you don't know where the body is? Because he has to go back and answer to George. And even though it's not your fault, it's like, yeah, sir, the body's missing. Well, you need to go find it. So you never want to go back empty-handed. Now, everyone's scrambling around. There's no cousins of the malware, meaning when the malware infiltrates your computer, it is technically a virus. It takes over the computer. But most of these things are just like any real world virus. It comes from a different, foundation of a different type of virus, and they add on maybe shutting down, take control of your computer. But there's nothing that they can find. The consulate, they did get a hit to match with the colonel scene. But now he's telling George, I didn't find that body. He's like, well, we need to figure that out because 24 hours after she got hit by that train, I seen her. So now, Roger, you went to go to the coroner's office. You need to go talk to the family. We need to dig a little bit deeper and find out about this woman. Valerie goes to talk to Sheila. Now, you can tell that there's something off between the two because the way Valerie is talking, she's like, if you can go back and work for George, you can do what I asked you to do. Now, they both have their own agendas, and you can tell that something may have went down between Valerie and George, and that's why Sheila feels that way towards her working back with her husband. Now, basically, she's saying you need to look out for George because I don't think he's all the way there. And don't get too close, Valerie. Don't cross them lines because it could get ugly. Just because I'm the former first lady don't mean I can't be the first round knockout. We see Alex having a press conference. Now her dad is watching this and they're asking, hey, are you going to have any oversight? Because you have the committee, but then you have the board that the committee is supposed to report to. Now, this is 0 day committee and it's basically like an executive order. They got free range. But you hear Alex saying, just because that's my dad, the former president, I don't care. We own him. We going through everything they got with a fine-tooth comb. So it looks like she's standing on business. Now, George, I don't think he's going to cut any corners. I mean, everybody does a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be too out of line where she got to come and correct him. Then we got the Evan Green show. Now, we all do social media. We all make content over here on YouTube. Evan Green, he's one of those right-wing, kind of like Alex Jones, spreading, all kinds of wild theories. And it's like, come on, this is a conspiracy. But he's basically saying, why isn't George giving up the information? Why isn't he just straightforward? This is what I have. This is what we looking to do. This is how we're going to do it. Now, George is watching. He turns the TV off. He ain't trying to hear that nonsense. But Evan, this is what his fans like. Oh, George was a failed president. Why didn't he run for a second term? We can't really trust him. George ain't liking this at all. George wants Roger to go over and talk to his daughter because he's saying she definitely not going to listen to me. She'll listen to you. So he shows up. He got her favorite coffee. And these two, they're basically, not trying to give up too much information of what they got on their side because Roger's obviously with the 0-day commission up under George, her father, but she's on the board that's watching over that. Now, she's like, you working with my dad. He ain't all the way there. Y'all don't know what y'all doing. And he's like, well, we taking our time. I'm sure your dad will figure things out. But all of that is just small talk because really what they're here for, they have a limited amount of time. These two been getting it on. So they go into the back room and they say to hell with business. Just work with your dad and man, we'll talk about that later. They've been following around Peter O'Keefe and he meets up with his sister Emma. Now, he talked to her and he was like, look, I need to get out of the country, but I can't get on a flight. I got to get on a boat. That's why they're meeting up with this guy. But you remember Alexei, the Russian? Well, he ends up catching up to him, but not before the 0-day commission arrests Peter, his sister, and the guy that's about to get on the boat. Now, you see Alexei in the back. He gets ready to run off so he doesn't get arrested. Then he's ran over by the Russians in a trash truck. So it's a lot going on here. Everyone was trying to get to Peter. Peter was trying to get out the country. The Russians wanted to get Peter, but since they couldn't, they had to cut those loose ends. And Alexei got hit by a damn trash truck. When Roger gets home, he has an unexpected guest. And this guest ain't playing no games. Listen, I got a gift for you. And let me tell you something. The Russians, they had nothing to do with 0-day. So you go and take that information and you let the 0-day commission, committee, board, whoever know that they didn't have anything to do with it. Now, remember, we already suspected that Roger's playing both sides because when he was talking to Mr. Linden. Now, everybody is just piling up on Roger and they're all giving him stipulations. You need to do this. You need to throw such and such off the track, or you need to make this happen. Roger, he just can't win. And even George's daughter is giving him a hard time. With all the information we've been gathering and Roger confirming that the Russians didn't have anything to do with it, Carl says there's a hacking group called the Reapers. Now, we don't know much about them. They seem like they're small and up under the radar, but this is what we're looking at. And that's because they caught Patrick O'Keefe. So now they're starting to piece things together. And this is only episode 2 and day 1 of the 0-day committee. So it's like, all right, at least we're headed in the right track, but we need to find out who these suspects are and start bringing them in for questioning. Roger's still trying to check on Anna. So he ends up getting a call from the family members. Now, he's talking to the mother. George thinks he's seen her alive 24 hours after she was hit by a train. He went, the body was missing. The mother said, we just buried her. So now hey, can you confirm that you buried her? Are you sure that's your daughter? It's kind of disrespectful, but this information, it needs to be conveyed back to George that she is officially unalive. So it's all kinds of messed up, man. Roger, just being an assistant to George, it's nonstop work for him. It's time for a press conference. George goes out there and he makes it known. The Russians didn't have anything to do with it. But there's a group called the Reapers, and they're using a weapon called Proteus. Now, it was developed by our own government, but a disgruntled employee took it. So now we got us a foundation. We know the weapon. We know the group that's doing the hacking. Now we need to find a plan of action on how to find them. And everyone's, oh my goodness, Americans, we made this? Like, whoa, man, we like the number 1 or number 2 in innovation and in technology. We make some crazy stuff that we don't know nothing about. Madam President, her assistant comes in and he's talking to her and like, what is George on TV talking about? Yeah, Proteus is a real thing, and here goes the top secret confidential folder on it. But he tells Madam President it isn't the type of weapon that George thinks it is. See, George thinks Proteus is something that's hacking. Proteus is a little more deeper than that. And well, we need to find out in episode 3. All right, there you go. The recap of episode 2. Let me know what you think about 0 days so far. Would you take a position on the 0 Day Commission and try to figure this thing out? Or are you one of the people just at the house like, man, damn, there go America going down the hole again. You know what I mean? It's kind of like how we living right now in real life. But let me know what you think. I'm MoDIJ. Tune in tomorrow for episode 3 to recap of 0 Day on Netflix. I'm MoDIJ. If you like this kind of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.